Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Eddie Jennings from EJSLLC.com. In this video, I'm continuing my practice session series for the Red Hat Certified Specialist in Containers exam, EX188. Before I dive in, I want to thank returning subscribers for watching another video, as well as invite anyone who's watching, if you haven't subscribed, to click the subscribe button. And if you enjoy the video, make sure you click like. Remember, this video and the others in this series are my practice sessions where I'm going through objectives and doing a self-assessment to see if I am prepared for the exam in just under 2 weeks, and hopefully I am, but if not, it gives me time to brush up on some stuff. These are not intended to be tutorials or training materials because I myself am still learning the items, but I do try to have the information accurate. So if you're trying to find ways of how to practice for your exam, I might be able to give you some ideas for that. So we're continuing with the run containers locally using Podman set of objectives. And for this video, we are looking at use Podman inspect. So let's go to the terminal here. We're going to pull down an image and start using Podman inspect. Now, I've been using the Podman inspect command for, I'm pretty sure, almost every video that I've done so far, but this is the one solely focused on Podman inspect. So let's pull down the UBI image. And the big thing with Podman inspect is that it shows you all of the metadata that's available for both containers and images. And that metadata you can use in a variety of ways. Mainly what I have found myself using it for as I've been training for this exam is just the sheer gathering of information and verifying that things are configured the way they intend to be configured. I'm sure there are ways that you can use this metadata, like let's say that you're using Ansible to do stuff with your containers. You can write playbooks that somehow gather this metadata and can take action depending on the particular data that it's able to see and such. And I'm sure there's other automation that can make use of it. The metadata is going to come back in JSON. So Podman inspect, do UBI 8 UBI latest, and without anything, that is what is going to be spit out. And typically what you will have seen me do on these videos is pipe it to an application called JQ, which that will allow you to, you'll see some colorization, which makes this a little bit easier to read, and you can drill down into the various like properties and such of all of this data. So let me pipe this to the JQ command. Oh, Podman pull, of course, that didn't quite work. So let's do Podman inspect instead. Now, I'm not a master of JSON by any stretch of the imagination. I have some basic understanding of it, but this syntax that I have done here, this dot and then the square brackets, refers to the fact that, if I were to scroll back up with the original output, this, from what I understand, and again, I'm not a master of JSON, so if I get this wrong, feel free to put it in the comments. This is basically one big array of information. And so dot and the square brackets is telling JQ, take what's in this array and format it in such a way that is kind of readable. But the information that's available to us, we see the ID of this particular image as it actually really appears to Podman. This registry name and namespace and container name, tags, all that kind of stuff. That's nice for it being human readable, but really behind the scenes, the ID is what's happening. We see all sorts of stuff with this. We see some environment variables that have been configured. We see the value for command, which has been bash. So when you run this container, that is what's being run. And then of course, since it's not entry point, which technically you can change entry point as well, but you can feed it a command to use other than bin bash. You see various labels, which these labels are, some of these I would imagine have some type of function, but it's really more of information. And if you're building your container file, you have the directive labels, and you can add labels to your to your container images. And I'm fairly sure out there is like a spec sheet that shows what all of these should be. You have information about your file system, far more labels. One neat thing is you can see the history of this particular image and layers that were layers that were made, and some of the commands that happened with these particular layers, which I find interesting. You can also inspect running containers. So let us run. Let's do Podman run, do this in the background, and we'll delete it when it finishes running or stops running. That UBI image, and we'll have it sleep for 10 minutes. All right, so there's our container, and we can, in the name that it gave was Sad Panini, and we can inspect this. So Podman inspect. I'll show you one other thing we can do. I think it's -- format, and this I believe is similar to what you do with JQ. Let's see what happens here. Nope, I didn't like that. Maybe it's just dot. If I want just everything, I'll have to experiment with that just a bit more. Or maybe let's take a look at Podman inspect. Oh, using a Go template. Yeah, that's not something with which I am knowledgeable. Here we go. So dot name. Do wonder if it will have an example that just gives us everything. No. I'll see if I can come up with an example here. If I were to do Podman inspect, Sad Panini, and bring that to JQ, and I think it's state. Is that the state or status? State, yeah. So state is kind of nifty. That's a subset of the information that comes out of Podman inspect. You can get PIDs and such with that, which I have found to be useful. Let's see if we can get this with the other format. Format equals. Okay, so that gave us the same information but output in a different way. I find JQ to be, or at least for me, to be far more useful. But that's really what your Podman inspect is doing. It's giving you all of the metadata and facts about whatever it is you're inspecting. We could create a network. So Podman network, create foo, and we can inspect it. Inspect foo. And we get, the subnet that it's using, the fact that DNS is enabled, and all sorts of other good things. I could go on and on as far as giving examples of Podman inspect, but basically any entity that can be made in Podman, whether it's an image, the running image, which is the container, a volume that you may make, a network that you would make, you can use Podman inspect to see all of its metadata. So I think for use Podman inspect, I'm pretty comfortable with for the exam. So if you found this video useful, make sure you do click like. I want to thank returning subscribers again for watching another video, as well as invite anyone, if you haven't subscribed, to click the subscribe button and ring the bell so you can be aware of when new content comes available. Thanks for taking the time to watch, and I will see you the next time.